Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is Bomani Jones Friday. Things happen sometimes. I hope you're not too terribly disappointed. Host of The Right Time with Bomani Jones. Check it out wherever you get your podcast. All right. Yeah. Gets bailed. Anyway, we actually have a stupendous slate of NFL action this weekend. And thank goodness, Ryan, because if we did not, this would be a frantic program.
Correct. But, thankfully the NFL, we did not have a great slate of games yesterday, or last week, excuse me. But this week it is excellent. And also we got Texas, Georgia that Saturday as well.
Right. We've got that. But what we have on top of this that is better than any of it is A.J. Brown, throwback NFL wide receiver. Okay.
Right.
Now, I actually don't even feel like this is truly throwback wide receiver behavior, because when I think about throwback wide receiver behavior, I think about people acting bad, like just being mad that they're not getting the ball and doing a poor job of articulating perhaps that it's larger than them, but it always just seemed like it was just about them. But A.J. Brown for the last year and a half has been a little bit miffed that he's not getting the ball. And by the way, so is Devontae Smith, because their problem doesn't simply appear to be that they're miffed about not getting the ball. The problem seems to be this offense stinks and everybody knows it. Can't you tell? Right? So, yeah, you could run for 2,000 yards of Saquon Barkley last year and make everything work. But as is often the case when a running back takes a bunch of carries in a year and, by the way, or just gets to the age of Saquon Barkley, you can't do this again. So, in a very not throwback sort of way, A.J. Brown was on the stream playing video games with somebody, and somebody asked him some questions about what was going on and what he was saying with the offense. And he was saying, no, it's not going good. This isn't good enough. All those kinds of things. And, from what I understand about you people who play video games to that level, it's easy to forget that you're actually being recorded and people can hear you. You know what I mean? And you get yourself just a little bit too comfortable and you say a little bit too much. And I've been in situations where you're doing something that's being recorded, but you do it with your friend. And so you get a little bit too comfortable and perhaps you say something, not that you didn't mean, but something that you probably either didn't intend to say or it was received in a way differently than you expected just because you were so comfortable and you were talking to a friend. And so you think since you're talking to a friend, the fact that the rest of the world can hear you goes away. And so your friend understands your tone. Your friend understands what you mean. Your friend extends you certain measures of grace if things might be just a little bit gruff, right? But the rest of the world is listening. And now the rest of the world has questions. And you typically have 2 options under those circumstances. Option 1 is just not to say nothing about it, which is typically my choice. Option 2 is to kind of be like, maybe I got a little bit too comfortable. That wasn't exactly what I meant. Those are normally the 2 options. A.J. Brown went with the rarely used option 3. And option 3 for him, 10 toes down. Ryan, can you play what A.J. Brown had to say?
When you explain the situation with the fact that you suddenly took it. It's not just solely about my situation. I mean, guys, obviously I want to win too, and I think if we're really focusing on winning and doing our job, we can't just keep slapping the Band-Aid over the defense doing their job and getting us out of trouble. At what point are we going to pick up our slack as an offense that we're so great, and that's what I'm getting at. It's not about we're not winning or I don't care about winning. All I care about is snapping step. No, it's been week after week sometimes we're not contributing. We're not doing our job on offense. So you can't just keep slapping a Band-Aid over it and you expect to win late in the year and you think you're going to go to it at the end of the year. It's not going to fucking happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And last year, what it was, thank you for the ring, but it's a new season. They adapted. We have to adapt. And we have to continue to get better and try to find new ways. So that's where the frustration comes in because it's not about winning, you guys. I want to win, yes, and help contribute as well. do our thing on offense as well. I think that's fair.
Ryan, what was that in his locker?
It was a receipt that said Jesus paid it all.
Oh. Got to worry about a guy like that. This dude in Dallas once sued Deion Sanders because Deion took his car in to get fixed. And when Buddy asked for the money, Deion told him that Jesus told him that he didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
This is the truth. I'm not making this up for you people who think I'd be hating on Deion. That actually happened. So he said, Jesus paid the receipt. Nah, okay. You still have to pay things too. Just in case that comes up. But you know what I find interesting about this with AJ Brown is that, like, it sounds like he's pushing back on all this millennial Zoomer positivity, right?
Right.
Like, somebody keeps saying everything is okay. Like, I used to work this one job where every day we would come off and somebody would tell us what a great day we had. And I was like, there's no way we had a great day every day.
Right.
It's not possible. You're lying. This is useless. Like, this is actually becoming counterproductive.
Not every single show is a great show.
Yeah. Like, this is becoming counterproductive if this is the feeling that you have about this. Is Sirianni one of those guys? Like, is that what it is? But the tone that he's taking implies, guys, stop lying to me. I know what time it is. This ain't it.
Yeah, right. Last game, he had 2 catches for 13 yards in the first half and had less in the second half.
Yes.
And less targets.
Yes. And I mean, look, man, I was watching some TV and they made a very good point that Nick Sirianni didn't get enough trouble for what a disaster it looked like that team was going to be early in 2024 and for righting the ship and getting everything okay, right?
Right, they were 2-2. He's screaming at fans in Cleveland.
Correct.
And shows up with a shaved head.
Correct. It didn't. But did he fix stuff or did they just start winning?
Right.
You know? And so the point is where AJ Brown's talking about we can't just keep throwing the Band-Aid over it. In a way, winning is the Band-Aid, right? It's just like, hey, it doesn't matter as long as we're winning. That's a tricky situation. But now they're going to play this game on Sunday night against America's team, the Detroit Lions. And I do believe that they have to go to Detroit to play this game. And look, this is 2 teams. Oh, so no, they're going to get this game at home. Okay. So, Ryan, what I was about to say, I have to take off the table, but now it makes for what I think is perhaps a more interesting set of points.
What you got?
Okay. So my thought was, hey, you got to go play on the road. It's going to be loud in there. That could be extra tricky. Counterpoint on this is you get the game at home.
Where it might be louder and trickier.
Here we go. Like, if this offense does not get going, hey, man, Eagles fans know he's right. Right? Like, that's a fan base that's not falling for the just because we're winning. Certainly happier for winning, but they're not falling for that. If that offense comes out there looking sluggish, it's going to be a thing.
Right.
Like, I actually need to take a greater survey of Eagles fans to see, do they love A.J. Brown for this or hate A.J. Brown for this? Because if I was an Eagles fan, he would become my favorite player. He's my favorite player right now, and I root for the Lions.
Right. I appreciate anyone who is that consistently honest. Well, say what you want about A.J. Brown. Man stays on message.
Yes.
He wants the ball, and he wants the offense to be better. And he's clearly right.
And he hasn't said anything rude.
Right.
Like, he hasn't taken off.
It's not personal. He's not like, remember when Micah Parsons said on his pod, he listed the top 5 quarterbacks?
And he didn't list Prescott.
Yeah. Like, he's never saying anyone's not doing a good job. He's saying we're not doing a good job.
Yes.
We're not. He is saying we're not doing a good enough job getting me the ball.
Yes.
But he's not saying certain people aren't doing it.
Well, the other part is they are not doing a good enough job of getting him the ball.
Yeah. I don't think that's in dispute.
Everybody agrees with everything that he's saying, and I'm just trying to figure out what the head coach is doing, if that's how he feels. Of course, the way this season is gone, that means that the Eagles are going to win this game, but not cover the spread, and the spread is 2.5, and their record is just going to keep getting better. Is it going to be like it was with the Chiefs last year, where we wound up in this very similar situation?
Right. I mean, like, but the Chiefs last year, they didn't seem as frustrated as, like, there was no one sounding the alarm. And maybe that's just Philadelphia, right? That's just kind of the culture.
Well, I think it's 2 years in a row of this shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, as it relates to him, I think, or maybe the Chiefs have greater track record there, or maybe A.J. Brown just go harder, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he is just more of a perfectionist.
Yes.
Maybe he insists a little bit more. But the other thing with the Eagles is this. They're not playing for the division, man. They're going to win that. They're surrounded by bums in that division. They are, however, low-key, and I don't think we're talking about this part nearly enough. They are absolutely playing for the number one seed in that conference because everybody else is going to beat up on each other in the division by and large, except for Tampa Bay, but I just don't think they're that good. But there look to be perhaps 4 good teams in the North. There appear to be 3 good teams in the West, right? So they're all going to pound each other. And the Eagles get to play a season with 2 games against the Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants.
Make a wish.
They do. Oh, my God, the Commanders.
The Commanders.
Hey, man, the Commanders and the Cowboys play on Christmas, and the name of that game should be The Spirit of Giving. Like, it is amazing how bad the Commanders' defense is. So, my man Dan Campbell took over play calling for the Lions, and he said he wanted to show John Morton the way he wanted a game to be called, which I think is a fair thing to do here, right? I also think Dan Campbell every now and then needs to remind people that it's a brain up here.
So some people like to drive the car. They don't have to drive. Some people they don't have to drive every day, but some people, they like to show they still got it.
But he also has to get tired of people thinking that he's not a thinker.
Right.
And this is his opportunity to do so. But anyway, a friend of the program, I don't know if that person has said this in public, so I want to be careful putting their name on it, but they're like, nah, I see through what Dan did. And that actually, no, it was Mina, and she did send it on socials. She saw through what Dan Campbell did.
Oh, he won. He picked up the Madden sticks, but he played it on rookie.
Yes, he did.
Got
that is exactly. But however, to be fair to Dan Campbell, if you want to show how you want it to be done,
correct.
This is the best way to go about showing how you want it to be done. Like, did he do it to show everybody how good he was? Maybe. But if it was intended to be instructional, that was the perfect time. Anyway, they're going to play against each other, the Cowboys and the Commanders, on Christmas. And it's just going to look. Russell Wilson looked like Russell Wilson against the Cowboys.
That might be Marcus Mariota versus Joe Milton.
And it'll look like Joe Montana versus Dan Marino. It's just going to be up and down, up and down. That's what it's going to be. But now this is a great week of football, man. Like, we got the Seahawks and the Rams, who might be, honest to God, the best 2 teams in the NFC. Some might argue the best 2 teams in the league. The Bears, who've got this thing rolling, but Caleb Williams against Brian Flores. Hey, that could, that could get ugly fast. The Bills in a must-win against Tampa Bay?
And that's a great white loyalty quarterback game between Josh Allen and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of people unsure of exactly who it is that they should be rooting for or against in the course of this. But with the Patriots being an actual factual football team, and they get to play the Jets on Thursday night, so at home, so I presume they are going to be 9-2 going into that game. If the Bills go down to 6-4, they're playing the playoffs on the road. Right? They're going to have to go into other people's houses. And they've stacked up a really good playoff record by feasting in large part on the expansion of the playoffs to 7 teams, because they are getting home games, often against a team that had no business being in the playoffs. And I will throw this out here, and we kind of lost track of this. If the Bills really come up disappointing this year, right? Let's say the Bills are a wild card team. Let's say the Bills lose in the first round. Sean McDermott's getting fired, right?
Getting him out of there.
Like, I think we forgot about the story.
The story.
Right? The thorough
reported.
Thorough reporting.
Never disputed.
Yeah. The Tyler Dunn's run up and down, and I say this every time I talk about him. His newsletter is a magazine, man. Like, it's legit. Like, it's legitimately stunning that it ain't just I put some stuff out here on Substack, right?
Right.
But he ran through it with McDermott, and I thought a reasoned case for why he was what held Buffalo back. Now, I think what holds Buffalo back as much as anything else is Josh Allen's just being he's Atlas, right? He just got the world on his shoulders. But if they don't get it done, he's been there a long time. My buddy Nick makes the point. I think that no quarterback and coach have been together for this long ever without going to a Super Bowl.
Right. And usually you go, I think if you don't, the stat is if you don't win in the first 5 years,
yes,
with your coach and your quarterback together, you don't.
McDermott's had this job for 8 years. This is year 9.
Right.
Like, it's easy to lose sight of that. Now, look, it's the 20 years prior to this were much different, right? They missed the playoffs 19 years in a row, okay? It's been an uptick, but if they lose this game, they've got giant problems, I think, if this goes. We got any more? Like, I'm trying to think. I feel like we got 49ers, Cardinals. 49ers might lose that game, by the way. Ravens, Browns. The Browns do sneak up on people every now and then. Oh, I forgot Chiefs, Broncos. And where are those Broncos fans now?
Right.
When it comes to Bo Nix.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, because I don't know if you saw this, but apparently Colin Cowherd has said publicly that don't be surprised if Peyton wants to move on from Bo Nix, and Colin and Peyton are cool.
Yeah.
But isn't this just year 2 for Bo Nix?
Yeah, I mean, but you also played 8 years in college.
He did. How you feel about Bo Nix and his potential really has a lot to do with how much college football you watch.
Correct.
Like, overall.
And what point you watched it.
Correct. Because if all you got was the Oregon, even Oregon was a pretty clear fake out. But if you saw Auburn Bo Nix, he's supposed to be a college court. Like, you know what he's supposed to be like? Chad
Major
Kelly.
Applewhite?
No, like more like Chad Kelly. But Major Applewhite, very similar in the sense that a college quarterback that we remember and talk about. But Bo Nix was an experience.
Yes.
Chad Kelly was an experience,
yeah.
Right? Where it's like, oh, there's no telling.
Steven Garcia was an experience.
Yes. Jordan Jefferson, an experience. Right? How did he get taken in the top 15 of the draft?
Right. Like, I remember Bo Nix in Auburn and seeing him, and I was like, wow, he's going to be really good at radio or someone's quarterback coach by this point. The idea that he would be an actual factual NFL starter and then an actual factual NFL first round pick, I never considered.
Yeah, like he couldn't even be selling cars. Like he should be selling ATVs. something a little bit more exciting.
Right.
Like something that gets your blood pressure up just
skis.
a little bit. But they're 8-2.
Somehow, some way.
Now, if the Chiefs, this is a road game and it's a division. So like todo es posible. Pero if the Chiefs lose this game, now I do think they are in trouble.
Right.
Because you got to come back and you got to win the games to get up there, right? They are right now on the outside looking in, which is something that none of us really take seriously.
Right.
But
one more loss.
You kind of need to win this game.
Right.
So it's going to be a dope week. Let's see how it goes. What if you could consistently find whatever it is you're looking for right away? We're talking everything from parking spots to holiday gifts to jackets or jeans that fit perfectly. Imagine how much time you'd save. While you may never instantly find these things, if you're hiring, you can find qualified candidates right away, time and time again with ZipRecruiter. And today, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology works fast to find top talent. With ZipRecruiter's advanced resume database, you can unlock top candidates' contact info instantly. Want to know right away how many qualified candidates are in your area? Look no further than ZipRecruiter. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/Bomani. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, NBA. I fired up the league pass on Wednesday night, watching some basketball. I was watching the Warriors and the Spurs, and we had talked about how things were getting a little dicey for the Warriors. Ryan, I don't know how much of that game that you got to see. The Warriors won the game because it was a Jimmy and Steph run shit kind of game where Steph Curry had, 46 points, I want to say, in that game. But there were long stretches of him off the floor and Jimmy doing that Jimmy thing where I just carry everything. This is immediately after, the heat on what exactly does Jimmy do was starting to come up.
Right.
And it was like, no, you can have long stretches where Steph doesn't play. Because if nothing else, Whether it goes exactly how you want or not, this guy is going to do that.
He's got it. Whether or not it goes well is to be seen, but he is certainly talk about someone sneaky old.
Sneaky old. Him, Draymond, Steph. Yeah, they're sneaky old. And speaking of sneaky old Draymond was out there trying to guard Victor. First of all, I don't know how much, like, the Victor highlights are one thing. You got to watch the whole game, man. Like, he's the only guy I've ever seen that can guard. So if it's 2-on-1 break, right? You're at once trying to guard the ball in the basket. And you're trying to stop before you have to commit to one or the other on defense. He can guard both.
Correct.
All the time.
He blocked a 3-pointer with his foot in the paint.
He did. And by the way, I love that it was Draymond Green that even tried, because Jimmy Butler looked like me playing against my brother when I was growing up. And understand, my brother's 13 years older than me.
So it's probably a similar height difference of about a foot.
He's not. Jimmy Butler's 6'8". He's not putting this up. Like, anywhere near him. Getting to the basket, dribble it right back out. We're not doing this. Draymond's trying to guard him. Ryan, he's dream shaking and shooting lefty hooks in the paint. He didn't make it, but the fact that was even on the board, like how smoothly he's getting these shots up at these, I don't know who's supposed to guard him. The Spurs are going to be a top 3 seed, I think, in the West. I don't know how far they're going to go because they are so young. And shout out to that dude, Cisco. We talked about that the other day. He's finally gotten his ass in line. And he's somebody had to grab the back of his neck to make them listen to them. And he finally has chilled out with his behavior.
And he got a lot of guards. It's a lot of Fox, Harper, and Castle.
Well, that's the other part, too, is they was running Cisco at the point. Like,
right.
Greg Popovich is a great coach who I do not think did a great job down the stretch there. This dude, Mitch, the new coach, they seem to be playing better ball in this regard. But the Warriors still came in and got that. Like, we're going to see what ultimately happens with them. But it seems pretty clear up through this point in the NBA season. To me, the West, Oklahoma City and Denver. By the way, Jokic put up, I'm sorry, the guy that ain't no better than Drew Holiday put up an easy 55 on the Clippers. An easy 55. Ryan, I need to chill because I'm feeling like white folks now, where I ain't never going to let you forget that you did that one thing ever wrong ever in your life. No, sir, Bob. How dare you disrespect this Caucasian hero? But on the real, how dare he?
People are going to start having some pretty crazy conversations about Jokic if he wins another MVP. There's going to start being Jokic LeBron stuff. I'm just saying.
But here's where it becomes tricky.
Right.
The question becomes, why not?
Yeah.
Now,
I'm not saying it's unfounded.
Yeah, now a championship would help. Now, what's going to be interesting and I think helpful for LeBron in terms of historical legacy is putting up 4 championships the way that he did, the way that Steph did. I think that's going to be a lot harder now.
Almost impossible.
Yeah, the era of runs of championships. So you think about it, for example, the 1980s, 3 teams won championships in the 1980s. I mean, the Lakers, the Celtics, the Pistons, and the Sixers, right? It was 4. But you got to a point where the Lakers won 2 in a row. The Pistons won 2 in a row. The Bulls won 3 in a row. The Rockets won 2 in a row. The Bulls won 3 in a row. The Spurs won 1. The Lakers won 3. The Spurs won 1. But you see how this run goes.
And like the Bulls won 6 in 8 years. The Lakers won like 5 in 11 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was these long stretches with LeBron and the Heat, and LeBron making the finals 8 straight years, for example. I don't think that's going to be something that you could do. The 1970s were similar to this, where you did not have repeat champions. The Celtics won 2 in the decade. The Knicks won 2. Then otherwise, you just got a lot of mixing and matching that's going on. But especially as the advanced numbers become a bigger thing, and the fact that I don't think Jokic is going to play 23 years, but I think he has a game that's going to be conducive to a similar level of longevity to what LeBron's game was. Yeah, if Jokic wins another MVP, those discussions are going to come up. Or how about this, Ryan? Does it become a Jokic-Curry kind of discussion? Does it become about an individual in that? Or is it just about putting him in that space?
In that class.
Because the regular season results make it unequivocal that he is of that level.
Right. I mean, you're getting the 4 MVPs, which he's certainly got to be one of the favorites for. It'll be him,
Yes.
Luka, and Victor.
Yes.
And SGA probably running that, as the 4 leading candidates.
Yes.
And people are going to start looking back at that Joel Embiid MVP, like the Steve Nash MVPs.
It is like, I do that. The Derrick Rose MVP is it's not the exact same,
but it's in the same conversation.
You know what? The Derrick Rose MVP, the more I think about it, is kind of in the same lane as the Charles Barkley MVP, which is a legitimate MVP, right? But yeah, no, this is, by the way, I watched the Thunders slap the taste out of the Lakers' mouths on Wednesday night. Jalen Williams isn't even playing, man.
Right.
Like, this is the thing about them. There's no reason to believe that they've even come close to peaking as to what they could be because the whole team is 17 years old.
And if the season ended right now, they'd have 2 top 10 picks.
And they have a zillion. What are you even supposed to do? Like, if you're Presti, what are we supposed to do with this team?
Right.
We've got these picks. What do I do? Trade them and try to get Giannis? Like, they have enough stuff to get Giannis and it not really hurt. They got a bunch of picks they don't really need.
They could trade for Giannis and not give up Chet, Jalen, or SGA. I mean, obviously, you get into the cap and the hard cap and all that stuff. So, like, maybe not the salaries, but before the second apron era of the NBA, they have enough. They could probably make the best offer. It's them or Houston.
There's nothing that they can't do. Like, and I know we say this just about every time a team wins a championship, but I don't think we've ever had a championship team this young, where everybody just feels this young. There's another wave of guys that's on the way to come up. It's going to be tough for everybody. And the Spurs, like I said, I think the Spurs are going to be up there by the end of the year just because they look really talented, man. They got guards. They've got this, whatever you want to call them. They're going to be up there. I watched some of the Pistons last night, but then I found out that they good players. Like, Cade wasn't playing. Just like, I ain't really getting into this. The East looks like a bunch of teams that should be very happy to get to the finals. But with that in mind, the best story this year to me, and I mean best in terms of it's somewhat entertaining, and I think it's actually kind of fascinating as a topic of discussion, is whatever is going on with Memphis, where Ja Morant is clearly done with this. Clearly. I said, and you could go look at it, I'm sure we put out short videos of it and people said I was crazy, but I said when they made that move and they traded Desmond Bane to the Magic, that the next play is to trade Ja Morant. Because when it's not so much that they traded Bane, it's that they traded Bane for a bunch of picks, which means that you made a trade that was not intended to make your team better in the short run. And if you're making trades with a player of the stature of Ja Morant, and you also have Jaren Jackson, and you're not trying to get better, then are you tearing this down? Like, that's the kind of move that you make when you're about to tear a team down. Let me tell you something about Jaren Jackson that I did not fully realize. Like, it's one of those things that is obvious when you watch his game, but until you look at the numbers, you don't really realize this. And I just don't understand how this is possible. Jaren Jackson, for those of you who are unfamiliar, is listed 6'10" at 6'10". He has never averaged 7 rebounds a game and has only had one season averaging 6 rebounds a game. Ryan, how is that possible?
That is, I hate to be this person, but that's we used to be a proper country stuff.
It is. I don't see how this is possible.
Right.
I don't. Right. But Ja doesn't like what the team is doing. It's fair to ask physically how much Ja Morant has left.
Right.
And he's clearly not trying very hard, which him not trying very hard jumps out, especially because of what the strategy is that they're doing. So the Grizzlies got this new coach. Let me read this off a page because I ain't heard nobody say his name, but his name seems to be Thomas Isalo. He from Europe. I know he worked over there in Finland. he's got this idea of how he wants to play, where he wants to have guys out there and play as hard as they can 3 or 4 minutes at a time, and then kind of run line shifts to get the guys out of there. Which, like, to me, if you're going to do that, you might as well be running like 40 minutes of hell full court press. Like, that feels like very much a college approach. Apparently, there were some tough times with it in Europe when he did it, but it ultimately worked. It is counter to the conventional wisdom of NBA basketball, which is to keep your best players on the floor as much as you possibly can. He would not be the first coach to try to play like 10 guys as your rotation. Hubie Brown, this was his standard operating procedure.
Steve Kerr famously likes to almost play everyone on his bench.
Yeah, he tries, right? But when it's time to really do something,
correct.
None of these guys actually do that when it's time to win. And so a guy like Ja Morant, is going to push back at something like this. I don't know if anybody's right in this situation, right? Like, this isn't one of those where I think that nobody is wrong. I don't think that this is an approach that can work for running an NBA team. And I don't think that Ja Morant I don't think he is comporting himself in a fashion befitting of an adult. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man, either if this is what we doing, man, get out here and play. This is the way that I look at these things. But they're going to have to figure something out, because you don't have a lot of stories about guys coming out here and acting like that and then suddenly coming around. I don't think that the head coach is going to be able to win him over if it has already reached this point. I don't think anybody's right here, which means I don't have any idea how to fix this other than tear the whole thing down. Here's the thing about tearing the whole thing down. I hear people make the argument that the reason that what's happening with the Mavericks is happening because Dumont, the owner, wants to move the team to Las Vegas because they're Vegas people. And I think that there might be something to the idea that he wants to move the team to Vegas. I wouldn't say I know Adam Silver, but I've met Adam Silver. We've spoken many times. I've interviewed him multiple times. He's not a fucking idiot, okay? And therefore, I don't think he's moving a team out of Dallas to go to Las Vegas. Don't really see that happening, okay? However, Memphis is a tough market for the NBA. The team clearly has a foothold in the city, but I don't know what the money hitting for there, okay? You tear it down in a place like Memphis, and the people stop coming, and that becomes a team that people try to move to Las Vegas. Just because of the size of the market that it's in, right? That's how that sort of thing goes. If people start talking about tearing this team down, I think you start then getting some whispers of other stuff. But the larger point for me is not every market can afford to tear things all the way down to the studs, because a lot of markets don't have enough people who will still come to games for you to do that and to make this profitable and to make this worthwhile, right? So I don't know what it is they're going to do there, but whatever they're doing right now, they can't keep that up. That ain't the business.
All right, Bo. Like you said earlier, we had to make a last-minute audible on this show, so we figured it was a good time to empty out some of the old voicemails. Let's take a listen to some.
Hey, Bomani. It's Mike, originally from Rochester, now living in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm just wondering, where is DJ Mike Hitman? Where is he? I haven't heard him in a long time. Maybe he's on one of the other platforms, but just wanted to see where is the OG, man? Is he doing well? What's up, or have I missed something? Can't wait to hear from you. And also, I miss when you and Shen will go on about Cam Newton and his yogiisms, man. I still laugh and chuckle about when you're standing on the pinnacle. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm a longtime subscriber, and best of luck to y'all. Peace.
Yo, it is so funny that you mentioned that about Mike, because I had a moment a couple of weeks ago where I realized I had not talked to Mike in a while. Like, the last time I saw Mike, I did a panel at the University of Chicago, and Mike pulled up to check that out. So, I love Mike pulling up, me and Mike hanging out at the University of Chicago. Like I'm up there with prominent labor economists as the grad school flunk out, right? I'm hanging in there and Mike down there. Mike got this clean light blue jacket and yellow tie. Mike had the hat and the whole nine. Had Mike in the front row. And then that night it snowed ridiculously. It was crazy. But anyway, I hadn't talked to Mike in a while. And then I called Mike and Mike did not answer, which never happens. And then Mike did not call back, which also never happens. And he called me back one day and I missed it. And so he called me again. I called him again and he did not call back. And I got nervous, right? Like I was like, yo, is everything okay with Mike? So I had to hit Golf because Golf, Chicago, Golf knows Mike from up there, completely separate from us, right? And so Golf hit him and Mike hit him back. And we're like, okay, cool. Man, it turned out Mike was on the Tom Jordan cruise. Right? So I talked to Mike. Mike calls me back. We talked for a while. Mike told me that he was on the Tom Jordan cruise. Mike was riding around with 2 Nigerian prayer women, is what he called them. And I tested to see if they was Nigerian, and they did. He put me on the phone with him. We was talking about living in Nigeria, where I lived, and like, oh, in the north with the houses. Yeah. So we were going back and forth. Mike sent me some pictures of him in a sombrero with the homies. They was all suited up. I bet Mike was in a suit even on that cruise, by the way.
You turned me on to something that which was a real treat, which DJ Mike Hitman's Instagram.
Yes.
Because I had obviously, heard the legends, but I had not, gotten to put.
You had never seen Mike.
Never seen Mike. And man, talk about something that lived up to my expectations.
But you didn't realize that Mike Hitman is cock diesel.
You're also correct.
He told us that one day that about his workout. We were like, all right, Mike, and then he showed us. Mike hit the vapor rub under his nose before we get out there. You don't really want no problems with Mike Hitman. Mike told me he gonna run for president of Mexico. He said he was down there talking to the people. He said he ain't know what they were saying because it was in Spanish, but he know that they need him.
Sure.
And so, hey, Mike para presidente. So, yeah, no, Mike's good. Did you ever get in touch with him?
I have not gotten in touch with him. I have to be honest. I'm almost nervous.
I don't it's so easy. As anybody, there are people who have listened to this show back when Mike used to give his phone number all the time, who just called Mike up, and all you got to say is you cool with me, no matter who you are. You can act like I wouldn't do it today, but I can put Mike's phone number on here, and you can just call Mike when you're in Chicago and say, hey, I'm with Bomani. Mike will meet you and show you around. Michael come hang out with you. No, just call. Hey, I'm Ryan. I'm Bo's new producer. Bye, y'all, because we do need more Mike. That was the hardest thing about changing the show from radio to podcast was it was much more difficult to get Mike involved because I'm not sure we have any of these things if not for Mike.
Yeah, we'll have to sort that all. And again, the Camisms. Talk about something that never disappoints.
Oh man, I forgot to tell Shannon. I got to tell Shannon next time he comes on. We gotta roll it back because once Shannon was doing that before we started doing the national show together. So It came when we were doing local, he wasn't doing it. And then he picked it up. And so I did not feel comfortable taking it with me because that's Shannon's, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But it is great anytime he comes back and we roll those out, especially now that Cam's on TV.
Oh, yeah. And he's given the Camisms at all hours of the day.
He is.
All right, here's our next one.
Hey, Bo. This is Landon from Connecticut. And I've been a long-time fan. You and I are the same age. I turned 45 back in April. And I know you have the same birthday as Macaulay Culkin, fellow 1980 baby. But anyway, I got lots of praise I can give to you and all that. But I just have one question. I remember an interstitial on PTI, or not PTI, Around the Horn, excuse me. And where they were talking about putting together a dream band for a certain amount of money. You get a budget, $1 for this drummer, $2 for this drummer, yada, yada, yada. And I remember you saying briefly in that commercial time frame, Prince, yep. And the singer, Van Morrison. Now, I already knew you were a huge Prince fan, as am I, big time Prince fan. I got Prince questions galore for you another time. But always curious where the Van Morrison love came from. And I heard you talk about Bowie a lot, but never much about Van Morrison.
Wonder if you can expound on that. Thanks.
Yeah, man. So, I mean, what happened was very simple. I started listening to Van Morrison. It was like, hey, man, my boy can go. Like, he's a one of one type. I find I find that his music is very soul music adjacent, right? Like them Irish cats, man. When Irish popular music always traffics in an interesting space. Now he doesn't do the fun thing that I prefer, which is clear out in front Irish accent. When I wake up, like that. He doesn't quite give you that, right? But it's the soul of the music that is so clear and a really interesting like production style from him because it is very jazz in some ways, but also again, very, very Irish folkish. And I'm really just talking about the 68 to 74 run. But I will tell you this, man. I went to go see Van Morrison at Forest Hills in 2014. That is the whitest thing I have ever done or been to in my life.
Oh, interesting.
I've never seen fewer people of color in a place.
Can I tell you the whitest concert I've ever been to?
Do tell.
Billy Joel at Madison Square Garden.
I could see that.
I mean, it was single digits.
But what's so interesting about that is, again, neither of them, I believe, have music that is like people of color reverse. I don't understand exactly how that goes. But let me tell you, number two, no performer has ever treated me as a patron with less respect than Van Morrison. It's never felt more like a transaction than that Van Morrison concert. He got a band that's set in an arc, so they don't even play for the crowd. They just play for each other. He's standing still and he's singing. The last song is Gloria, and everybody in the band got to do a little flourish or whatever, but I ain't never had nothing quite like this, where that man walked off the stage, and I went with my brother, and I looked at him and was like, ain't no encore, big dog. We can leave right now.
All right, here's one more.
What's up, Bo? Ryan from Miami. Listening to you and Shannon talk, bro, and y'all mentioned the magician. So I'm at my boy's party in Harlem. He does his end of summer party every year. And I'm at the party, mainly it's a mid-string group. Talking to one of the guests there, the guy's talking, I'm like, yo, how do you know the host of the party? And he's like, yo, I know him. We're trying to organize like a fundraiser, charity run thing. I organize events. So I actually just met him not too long ago. And that's what I do. I plan charitable events, usually in the fitness realm. That's my day job. Well, that's what I'm doing when I'm not doing magic. I've been doing it for a few years. And he's just talking about his job. And I cut him off and I say, hold on, bro. Did you say you do magic? And he's like, yeah. Well, this motherfucker pulled out like a deck of cards. Started doing magic tricks. He did magic for like the next hour. And then he just said good night. He had dinner reservations and he left. And the crazy thing is, I told one of my boys about it, a mutual friend of the host. And a couple months later, he linked up with that host somewhere. And that same motherfucker was there and he did it again. All right, man. Enjoy your day, man. Love the show.
I mean, he is acknowledging, though, it was dope, right?
Right. Magic is dope.
Like, I feel like if he did it for a whole hour.
Yeah. Do you know how long an hour is? Like, think about how, that is, think about stand-up for an hour or a concert for an hour. But now this is a non-professional.
Hey, trying to do a podcast for an hour by yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like
you don't have to do any sleight of hand.
Let me tell you, he did that for a full hour. After a certain point, he's like, excuse me, young lady, what is your name? Come up here for a second. All right, I'm going to show you something, okay? Now, everybody here. I love that he's stay ready, right?
Right.
At every turn,
he has his
ready.
Gear with him.
Yeah, but I'm going to tell you this, man. If you have a mastery at what you do and the confidence to do it, you can own any room. Forget about just magic. My man, Lyndon. I'm sure Lyndon is listening to this show right now, okay? Lyndon is a skinny young man. Well, he's probably not skinny anymore because he's a grown man now, but he is from Kannapolis, North Carolina. He was one of my students at North Carolina. Got a real strong, thick accent. Really, really, really smart dude, right? Knows a bunch of things about a bunch of stuff, and he works in the shoe industry, right? So one day, I'm in California. This is about 15 years ago, I guess. I'm in California and I invite him to hang out with me and a bunch of my friends from graduate school, right? So there's a wall-to-wall room of black people and Lyndon, who is not. Okay. Like we are not, we do not come from the same places, right? So we are there, and I forget how this came up, but he was talking or explaining how one would create a knockoff shoe, right? Like, so if one were to decide to take a shoe that is popular and to change it up just enough to not get sued, but to still look like the shoe that you hope to emulate. And he got that confidence, right? He's like, yep, I will stand in this room full of people and take off a shoe and give a demonstration of how to create a knockoff. And he did. And I watched as we were all engrossed.
That's awesome.
Like,
it sounds
all,
fascinating.
We were not sober. He was. We weren't, right? There was minimal sobriety in the room. And he stood up and he just took that off. It was like, okay, I take this and I put this here. We do this here. I turn this around. I do this here. Ta-da! Knockoff shoe, right? And I'm just saying, if you could pull that off with knockoff shoes, imagine if you knew how to do magic. Like, I bet you all them David Copperfield, wasn't he married to Claudia Schiffer?
I can't say that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I bet all the magicians, even them Penn and Teller dudes, I bet they all got bad ones, man. They can run a room. You can stand up there and run a room. I love that anywhere this man go, though, he got that deck of cards. He is doing tricks, all of this stuff.
All right, here's our last one.
Bo, long-time listener here. I have a really funny story about former pro basketball player and playing in an intramural league in Parker, Colorado. This former basketball player is none other than Earl Boykins, whole 5'5" tall. We were playing in a league, and we finally got the opportunity to play against his team. A buddy of mine on my team, and I really hope that he's a listener of your show. I think he probably is. Pulls up to the game and says, man, Earl's 5'5". Let me guard his little ass. Let me tell you that there is a big difference between a pro basketball player and a dude that has only played high school. And he guarded Earl, and Earl dropped probably 45 on us. Earl took it to the rack. Not a single dude on our team could do anything. He was shooting from beyond half court like it was a regular three-pointer. I think we probably lost by 30 or 40, and they had to call the game early. I've never seen anything like it, and I've never played against somebody as talented as him. And all you have to remind yourself in this situation is he's 5'5" and played in the NBA. He had to be really good to be 5'5" playing in the NBA. Love listening to the show, man, and been wanting to tell this story for a while. Peace.
Hold on. Not just really good, but also really strong.
Yes.
And so I think you need to be afraid.
Also strong and fast.
Yes. Like, you need to be glad that there was not a hard foul mixed up in this. Like, whose ass is little now, bitch? I'll guard Earl's little. Oh, no. I don't care who it is. If his name is Earl, don't call him little ass nothing.
No.
I'm just telling you, he's not. Man with that name ain't.
It could be an Earl. It could be an Earl the Third or an Earl Jr.
Don't matter.
No little about Earls
because he was raised by an Earl, right? Like I got it. My daddy got a partner named Earl. Love Earl to death. Earl is incredible. Earl a PhD. Earl is like a gourmet caliber chef. Earl is from New Orleans.
Got it.
I don't think you want no problems with Earl.
I understand completely.
Earl been to Vietnam. You understand what I'm saying? Yo,
Earl's seen some things.
And look, I ain't never seen Earl do nothing but smile. But I say about New Orleans, I tell you right now, I ain't met a sucker from New Orleans yet. Not a single solitary one. Eli Manning will fuck you up. You don't think that. But trust me, Odell Beckham, he'll be hee all over you, boy. You don't want those problems. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, Thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 3 times a week. That's Ryan Brumley handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Remember, hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Whatever you want to talk about, we open for it. And remember to follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like. We almost at 100. Rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.